a lot more about making first impressions, how to make first impressions, and in fact, we'll talk about how to make impactful first impressions. What is in the session today? Before that, hello all once again. I'm Leena. Like Vivek said, I'm a soft skill trainer. I'm also an image coach. When I say image coach, I deal a lot with first impressions, helping people build better first impressions or lasting first impressions. Apart from that, I'm also a learner. I believe in continuous learning. I believe the person lives as long as he learns. The moment you stop learning, you die. I'm also a facilitator. I love being a facilitator. In other words, a teacher, trainer, anything that you want to call. I'm also a change maker. I am here to transform lives of people. I'm not here just to take a session for 1 hour, half an hour, or whatever. Just enjoy the session, make you all feel good, and then leave. No, I come here to add value to your life. No matter, because you all are here spending some time, and I'm here to give perfect value to the time that you're going to spend here. That's about me. What all we'll be covering today. 5 things, very simple things. I'll be not taking much of your time, but in whatever time we have, I promise that you will not regret being here today. Firstly, I'll try to explain what is the art of first impressions. I'll say that I'm not an expert in any of these topics. Expert, I say I'm not an expert because there is so much more to know. Even after learning so much, there is still so much still undiscovered. That's the reason I say with whatever knowledge that I have, I try to bring the best before you all. And I sure that it is not something that I have picked up just from internet. It is based on my experiences, based on the studies, based on the research. Next, we'll try to identify the elements of first impressions. So what are the elements that create this first impressions that we are talking about? Next, we'll try to choose the appropriate style skill. This is more to deal with clothing, because first impressions, when you talk, the first thing that people notices is the way you're dressed and create a better styling. Next, we'll discuss about 4 A's of dress standards. How should you go when you go for an interview, for a client meeting, for visiting someone? If you'll have children, how to go and have that, create that first impression even before their faculties, even before their teachers. And lastly, we'll speak about making the most of these first impressions within first few seconds. That is what we'll be covering today. All right. Can someone tell me, what does success mean to you? What does success mean to you, Jyoti?
Ma'am, your voice is breaking, so I'm not able to understand.
Jyoti?
Yeah, Leena, your voice, I think your network is a little strong.
Can you hear me, see me?
Neither we can see you nor we can hear you properly. I think she's trying to reconnect. She's there.
Hello all, I'm back.
Yeah, Leena.
Okay. Did you all hear me until I asked the question, what does success mean to you? Did you all get that?
No, no, ma'am.
Okay,
No,
until
no,
where
no.
were you all with me? Until I finish the slide,
Yes.
the what all we'll be covering today.
Right,
All right?
right.
Okay. After that, I have a question for you. Just think and tell me, what does success mean to you? Think carefully and tell me, what does success mean to you? Anybody would like to answer this?
Was being happy. Happiness is one aspect I would relate to success.
Mhm.
And another thing is peace.
So if you have happiness and peace, that is success to you. Am I right, Chaitanya?
Correct, correct.
Okay. So here I had two girls talking about interviews. What does success mean to you? Why should you be successful? Do you all have any idea what success is? When will you think that you are successful in life? Varsha, anything that you would want to say?
I think for me, it will be the accomplishment of the aim that I take or the purpose that I have in my life. That would be success to me.
Nice. So when you achieve the purpose, ultimate purpose of your life, the goal that you have set, the aim that you wanted to reach, then that is like being successful. Perfect. Let me tell you all that success has two things. One is a chance or an opportunity that you're looking for. Second is the performance. Listen to me carefully. Success is two things. One is chance or opportunity, and the other is performance. Your first impressions deals with the chance or opportunity. Varsha might be agreeing with me. There are so many candidates with the same degree, same qualification, same experience, same certification programs that they have done. But in spite of that, there are only very few who get chosen for that one particular job. Why? She might have seen something different in every candidate, which she herself would not be able to describe it if I ask her now. All of them are the same. They are having the same basic qualification, degrees, and experience. Still, if I ask Varsha, what made you choose candidate A and not candidate B, she'll say that there's something in that candidate A. You know, when I see her, there is something that says from within, no, this one is the right one. There's something which makes me think that she'll be able to do better than candidate B on the job. There's something that makes me feel that this will work for her and not for the other candidate. This something is what we call first impressions. Most of us will not be able to describe what we think about that particular person. Probably even today when I was standing here, the moment you all saw me, you all thought something. Oh my God, look at her, she's all decked up. Oh my God, today's session will be interesting. Oh my God, I do not know what to expect from this session. Even before you come to conclusions, even before you form some words in your mind, you have already decided something about me, which you might even not know. Just imagine you are in a cricket stadium watching a match. There is some person sitting next to you. He is all enthusiastic, jumping all around for every six. For every six, he is trying to jump. He is putting all the popcorn on your head, and you're like, "Oh my God, why am I stuck here with this person? When will I move out from here? I don't want to sit beside this girl, beside this person." And you move out of the stadium, and then it suddenly starts pouring like crazy. It starts raining, and you have nowhere to go. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, that very same person comes and holds an umbrella, and you look at him and you're like, "Oh no, not him again. Why him? It's okay. I'll go drenched in rain. I don't want to be beside this person who doesn't know how to behave." You see, because you have already framed that he is a person who does not know how to behave, even though second time is approaching you to help you, you do not want to stand next to him. That is the reason many people say first impressions do not get a second chance. Your interviewers do not give you a second chance. Even if you fail in your examinations, you'll get a second chance. You can redo that. But first impressions, many scientists are breaking their heads as to how these first impressions are formed, and they're not able to arrive at a conclusion. They do not know how it works and how these are actually long lasting. They do not have a concrete answer for it. But somehow, most of the research published say that first impressions have lasting impact on our judgments about the other person. So I was telling that success is two things. One is chance or opportunity. This chance or opportunity depends on you, the first impression that you create, and how you will be able to grab that job, grab that client, or grab that opportunity that is coming knocking at your door. Second thing is your performance. Do you think only looking good matters? Absolutely not, unless you are in some fashion career where only looks matter. A doctor needs to look the part, be the part. He should also have knowledge of how to perform those diagnoses, operations, how to write prescriptions, what to prescribe to which patient. He is a doctor because you identify it seeing the coat that he's wearing, the blazer that he's wearing, and you know that he is a doctor because he is behaving like one, giving you the right prescription, suggesting you what to be done, when, where. Therefore, I say first impressions. Not many will agree with this, but I say first impressions has to go hand in hand with the knowledge, skills, and abilities. May I request you all to go on mute? I can hear someone. Okay, thank you. First impressions. Success are two things: opportunity and then performance. Performance is your knowledge, skills, and abilities that you bring once you get the job. Your first impression is already formed. After you get selected, when you should actually perform the task and job, how you will be performing is the knowledge, skills, and abilities that you have learned on your course, in your previous job, in some certifications, and many more. Tell me, in these two images, which is the image that looks friendly to you? Which is the image that you want to run away from? Image 1 or image 2? Image 2 you want to run away from, right? Why? Why?
Because it looks big. The second one is the big elephant,
Okay.
and this first one is a baby elephant. So the second one looks more fearful by the way of the
It looks more fearful. So you decided that this is going to harm you. It is more fearful because of the looks of an elephant, because you see that its ear is wide open. You see the body language of this elephant is somewhere like ready to attack. It is looking directly at you. It is not going to let you go. That's right. And when you look at the first image, this is more like calm, happy, doing its own job. You can stand there and watch what this baby calf is doing there. That's right. Let me say which one of these two you will approach when you need some help and which one you would want to avoid.
Employee 1 is something we would approachable because he's happy, cheerful, no matter he's doing his work, but then definitely he's an approachable person. So definitely an approachable factor. They say that HR should be approachable, but that it should not constrain towards only HR itself. Every industry should, every person, no matter you are a CEO from a entry level to a higher level, everyone should be an approachable level in that case.
Okay. You said approachable, very correct word. How did you come to a conclusion that employee 1 is approachable? What made you say that this is the one who is approachable?
Because no matter, you see, he is holding a book in his hand. He has kept earpods also. He is busy. He has many tasks to do for the day, but then still keeping a smiling face during the pressure level is something. And also if a person from another departments come over here, like for example, if he is into marketing and accounts, if an accounts person come over here, now both are very different. What we say, different departments, but then again they are working under same umbrella for the same company, for the progress of the company. So if you see that no matter the thinkings would be different, the principles would be different, but then at the same time they both are coming together, helping each other.
Okay.
And at
so
the
I'll
end of
take
the
one
day,
word from whatever you're saying. I'll say that you said approachable because of the smile that you noticed on his face, right?
right.
Let us talk about employee 2. What do you think he is doing? How does he come across to you?
He is like, what we can say not interested.
Okay, not interested.
Not interested. There is no he is not have, there is no enthusiasm.
No
when he
enthusiasm.
works.
Probably, Sushmita, let me say this. Probably he's had a hard day at work and with family.
Right.
Probably he lost someone at his home, very close and dear ones. Probably he's putting so much of efforts, but he's still not able to perform well. He's thinking, how can I give my 100% at the job? He's lost in his own thoughts. But still, none of all these things matter to us when we ever asked, whom will you approach? We immediately said the person who is smiling. That's it. You see how strong first impressions are? This happens to all of us. When you go to buy vegetables, vegetables are the same everywhere. You just decide based on the vendor's smile, whether he's looking at you or not, whether he or she is making an eye contact or not, whether they are turning towards you or not, whether they are interested in having that customer or not. Just based on this, you say, this is the one I'll be buying from. Though it's the same, they're sitting all beside each other. The rates are the same, the quality is the same, the quantity that you'll be getting is the same, but still you decide whom to choose or whom not to choose based on their facial expressions. You see how important they are. You see how important smile is. You go to a shopping mall. You enter every shop that you think like entering? No, right? You check the display there. You see the clothes put on display and you think, this is the shop that probably has what I am looking for, and this is the one that I'll be entering. You will see Reliance Trends, Lifestyle, H&M, everything. But when the display does not say that, oh my God, this is, you does not speak to you, it does not communicate to you. If those clothes do not communicate to you, you will say, no, this is not the shop. Probably they'll not be having what I'm looking for. You will go to the other shop. You say even first impressions are working there. Even shops work hard to create that first impressions through those displays. I'm sure Varsha and Vivek would be handling many clients. When you see that client, you know, you might have just thought, there might be some clients like this. Let me know of your experiences. You look at their face and say, oh my God, this is a tough client. This will not work in our favor. We should be prepared. This is going to be more or less like a war. Anything, any such experiences?
Yeah, not. I might be sounding a bit biased, but yes, that vibe initially tells me, you know, whether the discussion is going to go ahead or not. No, that
Right.
the first discussion, the first casual interaction only gives us the vibe.
Exactly. Exactly. Vivek, you're spot on. This is how strong first impressions are. First impressions, the moment you look at a client, there are some times when I was working, I would go for interviews and it would like, oh my God, not this fellow. I would not want to work for such company. I would not want to be under such a manager, just because, you know, I remember one interview where I was giving and the manager never looked at my face. He was on and on and on asking questions for 1 hour and he never ever looked at my face. There was a TL, the team leader, who was looking at me and responding. Every question the manager asked, I never could connect to him. I never looked at him. I would just turn to the team leader and I would speak to him rather. Because I'm not getting the response that I decided. I'm not getting that acknowledgement from him. I'm not getting acknowledged for the response, for the answers that I was giving to him. And I came out of the cabin and I was like, what's wrong with this person? He might be a shy person, you never know. This happens in a lot of interviews again, especially when the interviewer is a lady and there is a male interviewee. This has happened with so many of my friends. They feel somewhat shy to look at the lady and speak. For what reason? She is your employer. You'll have to look at her face for the rest of your life as long as you're working in the company. They put down and they start juggling their fingers. They start looking down for what? You are rejected there because the interviewers are not, you come across to them as someone who does not have confidence. Such strong as eye contact. If you're not making eye contact, the interviewers within 7 seconds decide that you're not the person who will be working for them. And this is the fact. We'll be talking more about this. So what is first impression? I have given out most of the answers. Based on these answers, can anyone sum up and say what this first impression is all about? Anyone who has not spoken until now? Chaitanya, would you like to speak?
Sure, I would like to give it a shot. So in my understanding, first opinion talks about opportunity, the opportunity which you get, and the performance.
Okay. So what is first impression then? What do you think a first impression is?
Ability to connect with someone
Thank you.
at a
Perfect.
certain at a certain time or in a certain scenario, I would say.
That's right. Ability to connect. That's actually right. Then anybody else? What is first impression? What have you understood from first impression? The discussions that you have been. Yes, Jyoti?
How approachable you are coming across to the other person.
That is the first impression. Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Any other answers? Anything else that you all want to share?
Confidence, perhaps.
Correct. You all are giving me answers for something else that I would want to talk about. But thank you. You all are right. Now, the actual meaning of first impression is the impression that you give out to the other person. Think about this. Even it is according to research, it seems that we meet nearly 7 to 8 people every day. Not necessarily that you have to know them, even while moving on the streets, even while catching that bus to your work, even when sitting, even new meeting, new clients, social interactions, the profiles that you all visit. It is said that we meet knowingly or unknowingly approximately 8 people. And these 8 people are constantly making first impressions about us. They're framing some impression about us. Who is she? What is she doing? Will she be suitable to be my friend? Is she trustworthy? Research conducted by Forbes, again, research conducted by Canadian Institute of Research and Technology, and research conducted by Tata McGraw-Hill, if you know, these are the people who published a lot of textbooks. All of the research says that every individual that you meet forms judgments, quick judgments. These are called sometimes snapshots, sometimes thin slices, sometimes judging the book by its cover, but still they form judgments about you, your capacity and capability at work. Are you suitable for promotion or not? Are you suitable for being hired or not? Are you intelligent? Are you trustworthy? Are you financially stable? All these things just within few seconds of even meeting them. How strong this first impression should be. Because these are so strong and because somebody else is framing some or the other judgments about us, it is important for us to look the part. Brian Tracy, the author of Psychology of Selling, says that most of the people do not get the job because they don't look the part. They have the knowledge, they have the skills, they have the abilities, the KSA, popularly known as, but they do not get the job because they do not look the part. If I think of myself 8 or 9 years ago, attending my first job interview, not knowing why I was getting rejected and why my other friend, not having the equal skills, knowledge, or abilities that I had, not having the grades that I had, not having the exposure that I had, but still she was getting selected in almost every interview that we went. And I was getting rejected. Today, if I think back and try to realize what I did wrong, it is simply because I did not look the part. You see, she was more outgoing. I was someone I was not an introvert, but I thought appearance doesn't matter. Who cares for appearance? It is what knowledge that I have that matters the most. You should never judge a book by its cover. People keep on saying this. You should never judge a book by its cover. You should never judge a book by its cover. But those very people would not buy that book if the cover did not speak to him. You see, even till today, we buy certain things because we get attracted by that very cover. So we might be having, that book might be having everything within it. The content is there. We might be having everything within us. But if we do not look the part, then we are losing it. Every opportunity that is coming our way, we are letting it go even without our knowledge. That is the reason today's session will be talking about how to create that first impression, not just once, but every time. How to reinforce that first impressions in such a way that it becomes a lasting impression throughout your career, your interviews, or anywhere that you go, even if you're meeting the client for the first time. How to leave them with the impression. It's okay if you're not getting a business, but the client will remember you, and probably sometime down the line, they'll call back and say, Varsha, you know what, we had met. That time we couldn't give you any business, but today we have an opportunity. Would you be able to take this? It is how you deal the client even when you're not getting any business from them. There are many, it's here in down south. I'm not sure if it is the same everywhere else. Shopkeepers, they smile at you when you enter the shop, when you go to buy something. And if you have to return something, they will not even look at you. The moment you go, I have here to return this particular dress, it did not fit me right. I'm here to return this particular book or article. They're like, today is not the time. You have to come back or sometime on Saturday. Today we have a lot of business. That very person who spoke to us smilingly, was happy to make that sale, today is not looking at us. You see, first impressions matter. And probably after returning that article or dress, I would not go back to that shop, because I did not like the way I was treated there. The same person, this has happened with me, okay? The same person, once you return the article and they're treating you just the same, they're giving you the same importance, like as if you're a first-time buyer. Every time you go, they approach you with a smile. They open the door, they give you a glass of water. They ask you if the AC is fine. You say, you know what, there are 100 shops, 100 similar shops down the line, but I want to choose that shop only because that person values me, values customer, values client. He treats me even when I don't pick anything from there. He treats me just right. Even if I go there and say, I'm sorry, there is nothing, there is no much collection, I would not want to buy anything from you, they're still smiling. They're still okay to let us go out of the shop. They're not burdening us. They're not forcing us to buy something from there and making us guilty of just entering that shop, making us guilty because we took some water to drink from there. No. See, first impressions are really strong, and these have impact on your social gatherings, social life, on your clients, on your work, on your personal relationships, and every other person that you're meeting daily. That's the reason first impressions are called lasting impressions, because once made, they cannot be undone. We'll talk about this. Here it comes. So the first question says, you all can answer me now. Are first impressions accurate? What do you think? Are first impressions accurate? Anybody? See, probably Varsha or Vivek or anybody who has done a little bit of hiring might have this experience. After choosing that one candidate, something might have said, don't choose, but you still go ahead because of the pressure from the management, because you have to fill a position. After choosing, that particular person puts papers within the next 6 months. And you said, see, I knew this was not the person. I knew something said I should not have picked her. It was just because of the management decision that I spoke to this person. Something on similar lines, something should have happened to us, right? You made friends with the person, and then you say, oh my God, I knew she was like this from day one. Someone becomes successful, you will say, I knew that you had this talent from day one. Why? Because first impressions, I'm not saying this, scientists and the research that they have conducted says first impressions are accurate. And what's more interesting is, even if they're not accurate, they will last long. Even if depending on my background, on my ethnicity, my cultural values, I might decide something about that particular person and that will stick with me. If you're portraying something wrong, it will stick with me for a really long time. Even after providing me with contradictory evidences and saying that, yes, this can be undone, you provide me proof that, see, I'm not a bad person. See, I'm good. I'm a good faculty. If I'm your boss, I've seen you come late only for once, only for one day, and I make judgment saying, my God, Jyoti is the person who comes late every day. Even though she's making for it, she comes late, she's staying back and she's working. I'm not saying that part. All that I notice is she was late, she is the person who is not punctual. This impression is formed, and even after providing me with contradictory evidences, first impressions for some reason do not change. Therefore, when you have the chance to get them right, please get them right, especially when you're meeting someone for the first time. So you might ask me the question, so there is no way that we can change these first impressions? There is a way. There is a way we can change these first impressions. But you know what? It will take lot of efforts, especially if the first impression is negative. Trust me, it will take more time than you can think. I'll take the same example. You come late, first impression is formed. If you have to break that impression from your boss saying that, no, I am punctual, he has to see you coming much before time, at least 8 times. This is a research. At least 8 times when you encounter the person doing the same thing right, not wrong again, right? When you reinforce the right behavior, that is when you can change. And this requires deliberate efforts. You need to put deliberate efforts to change somebody's impression about yourself. That just does not happen in the air. It cannot happen. See, if you sit doing nothing, impressions will sit there doing nothing. They will not change. Other research says that even after providing these evidences, even after putting these deliberate efforts to change the first impressions, still there'll be some doubt. Your boss now knows that you're coming early, but still there'll be some doubt. Okay, is she really coming early? That trust is not maintained at the level that it has to be maintained. First impressions also depend on the trust factor. I spoke about this question. Does only looking good matters? Yeah, as long as you're working as a fashion model or in a Bollywood industry, or you're working somewhere on Netflix, somewhere where entertainment is the factor, yes, looks alone matter. Otherwise, for people like us who are involved in various professions, looks alone do not matter. Looks alone will give us that chance, that opportunity to open that door, to take that first step. But after that, what we do is completely based on our knowledge, skills, and abilities. Your first impressions and your KSA should go hand in hand if you have to reinforce that first impression. If you have to reinforce that, yes, I'm capable, this is the first impression formed about me, I want to reinforce, then I have to bring my knowledge, skills, and abilities into play. I cannot simply look confident and say, oh, you know what, and talk rubbish and get away with it. No, doesn't happen. All right. So how does one make an impactful impression? I'll tell you a story. Post that, you all can give me points and say, what are the things we need to make the first impression? Because you all were talking too much about interviews, let me tell this. Let's assume that Varsha is the one who is interviewing candidates for a sales position. She's sitting behind those glass cabin doors. And even as she's sitting there, someone calls for the next candidate. She looks up and she sees one candidate walking across the glass panel. She notices that this person is wearing nice, crisp shirt, neatly ironed, good tie. She notices that he's taking long strides to walk. She notices that he's well groomed. And even as he walks there, opens the door, oh, confident, because he's not taking time, he's not coming in like this. He's opening the door. He steps in, makes eye contact, smiles at her, and gives a handshake. And before he says good morning, I'm sure Varsha would have decided, oh my God, this is the person whom I should be sending to meet my clients. He's prim and proper, he's well-dressed, he's well-groomed, he's smiling, he's having good body language, he's having good postures when he's meeting us. This is the one whom I'll be selecting. After this, she might interview him for next 40 minutes. That will only reinforce her belief. That will only reinforce. Now she'll start asking only those questions which will give her a sure yes. Okay, which will confirm that, okay, this is the person whom I can send to my clients. That is how the interview will go on. Now, you have heard this example. What do you think one needs to make an impactful impression? What do you think? Anybody? Depending on the example that I just said. Shraddha, what do you think? Shraddha, Chaitanya, Vivek. Vivek is gone. Anybody?
I think confidence.
Confidence is one, correct? What else?
The way the person carries himself, the charisma, we can say.
Okay, that's right. Then?
the way he sings the thoughts,
Okay.
like connecting, like not 100% with the vision and mission of the company, but somewhere or the other he is connecting. And that's where we can see that, he is like during the interviews, we definitely say this, that we have to be turning up ourselves into an asset and not into a liability.
That's right. Okay, let me give you what. Yes, Jyoti, please tell me.
Ma'am, one very important thing is like having smile and a positive attitude, which is also contagious because the other person immediately also responds to that.
All right, I'll take that. Now, before I give you the answer, have you all anytime come across Mehrabian's communication model?
No.
Okay, I'll explain what this is. This talks about 3 V's. V. One for verbal, one for vocal, and one for visual. So these are the 3 things that we use in communication: vocal communication, verbal communication, and visual communication. Beside this, you see a chart which is divided into 3 parts. What do you think would take the majority of this chart's portion? Vocal, visual, or verbal?
It's the verbal.
Verbal would take the majority of the charts part. Okay. Any other answers?
Should be visual.
Visual is taking the majority of the chart. Okay. Okay. Any other answers? So you say visual or verbal is the one that will be taking the majority of the chart part. Okay. Now, here is the answer. You all have guessed it right. Because first impressions happen even before a candidate says good morning, even before you go and speak or utter a word, it is already made. Because Varsha, if you think of the example that I gave, she made the first impression even by just looking at the person walk. First impressions are visual in nature, which means to say that your clothes, the way you look, the way you groom yourself has majority of the communication that will be made. Next, you see vocal. Vocal and verbal is different. You all know that, right? Okay, we'll be talking about this too. So majority of the communication that happens is visual in nature. In fact, another research says that especially today's generation is changing the way they learn, and 65% of the learners are visual learners, which means if I go to any class and try to teach them using blank white slide just with text, they will not learn. Because these are the people who are using almost 3 to 5 screens every day. They're shifting between 5 screens. They focus, their attention is divided between 5 screens. And if you go to the class with just plain slides, only with text, they will not give you attention no matter how important that lesson or class is. No matter how important is the point that you're trying to make, they will not give you attention because it is not communicating with their visual learning ability. People see and learn. People see and do. They exhibit, they model that behavior. Therefore, your slides and everything that you present, including yourself, has to be visually appealing. Does it mean that I say you should buy costly clothes, you should buy costly jewelry, you should wear costly makeup? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is not what I'm here for, and that is not something that I would stand for ever. All that I mean to say is visually look appealing. With anything that we have, be more appropriate in your dressing. Dress for occasion. Dress your best. Vocal. We'll talk about this. Vocal and verbal. By the way, verbal is not at all the majority. In fact, only 7% of a communication is verbal in nature, which means it is not what we say, it is how we say that matters. This has been the tagline of Mehrabian's communication model since ages. It is not what you say. It is how you say it that actually matters and that leaves a lasting impact on your audience. Here are the elements of first impression. All right. So the elements are clothing, grooming, body language, and vocal communication. Let me talk about vocal communication. What is vocal communication? Let me give this example to you. Let's see how you all do it. Tell me, I am so excited in a happy tone. Sushmita, would you be able to do it? Tell me, repeat the same sentence back to me. I am so happy. Now I have told it in a neutral tone. I want you to tell to all of us, I am so happy in a very happy tone.
Okay. I'm so happy.
Okay. Can you do the same in a sarcastic way?
I'm so happy.
You nailed it. Very good. Now, when you
Thank
said
you.
that, did you see you were involving your emotions? Emotions is what vocal communication tries to communicate. If you're happy, if you're sad, if you're angry, if you're sarcastic, if you're being just plain neutral, there is an emotion behind everything that we try to say. That is the reason Mehrabian said it is not what you say, but how you say that matters in communication. Probably if you said in a sarcastic way to the other person, I'm so happy, they would have read your facial expressions, they would have read that body language, and they would have understood, oh, this girl is trying to be sarcastic. And they would have silently moved away from you. Instead, if you say, I'm so happy, they'll come back to you and ask, why are you so happy? What happened? You see, those emotions communication is made through those emotions through vocal communication. Now we spoke about tone. Tone will give out if you're happy, sad, angry, or sarcastic. There is something called as pitch. You see Sushmita saying, I'm so happy. The pitch was high, that is high pitch. When she was being sarcastic, she was being low pitch. I'm so happy. In a sarcastic way, that is the pitch. Tone, pitch, and then there is word stress. Sushmita, do this for me. Stress on one word. Okay, I'll give you the sentence. Stress only on one word that I say. Okay. He is giving this car to me. Now, emphasize only on the word car. Okay. You need to stress only on one word, that is car. All right. Can you do it? Go ahead.
So, like it would be into happy mode or sad mode?
Any mode, anything that you want.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'll just say that. Raj is giving me the scar to me.
Okay. You said everything you emphasized on every word actually. Try doing this. Try doing it again. Emphasize only on one word. Raj is giving this car to me. He's giving this car, not his bike. You see, word stress also communicates. You say so many things when you stress on one word. Raj is giving this car to me. He's giving his car, not his bike, not his other car. Vocal communication involves so many other things like this. Word stress, pitch, tone, volume. If there are so many audience before me, it is a classroom session, I increase my volume to reach the last person sitting there. That is increasing volume. If there are just few of us online meeting, I don't have to scream. It is volume. And then there is something very, very important, pausing. Pause at the right moment when you're communicating something with your audience, when you're giving them heavy information, it is very, very important for you to pause. See, just like how I did now. I'm completing a sentence, I'm pausing, I'm using tone, I'm using pitch, I'm using word stress to emphasize on things that I want you to understand more. Again, it is throughout, even from the beginning until now, I have been doing it, but you just didn't realize it. This is vocal communication. What is body language then? What is body language? Body language is extremely important. It could be as simple as making eye contact. Though we are far away, we are not in an offline session, we are online, but still I'm making eye contact with each and every one of you. I'm trying to use gestures within the frame of this camera. I'm trying to move around. I'm standing here today. I could have sat down, but I'm not comfortable because my body language will be hidden. And I would not be free enough to move about. Body language is that gestures and postures, those power poses that you use when before a client. What is a power pose? You know, this is a technique. If you all have any time, any session where you have to go out and present before someone or something, try power poses. What is power poses? Use as much space as you want and try to look confident. You might be feeling timid inside. You might be losing all your energy inside. You might be saying, oh shit, I'm going to do horrible today. Doesn't matter. Just try this technique of using power poses. Extend your arms and legs. Use long strides in walking. Use gestures that are out of space before your presentation, not during your presentation. When you do this, you automatically come out and say, my God, I'm confident. Today I did that. Even before the session, I was doing power poses everywhere, because then your body will understand, your mind will understand that, okay, this girl is confident. That is a message which you have to send to your mind. When before an audience, use gestures, postures, smile, eye contact, handshake. People during interviews are rejected just based on handshake. Do you all know that? 80% of the people are rejected just based on handshake. There are different types of handshake. Some people give handshake like this, like they're Queen of England. Doesn't work. Like they're the lady of some organization, first lady or something. Doesn't work. Some people give handshake like this. They grab everything, every arm around them. Some people crush the knuckles. These are the people whom you should not be shaking your hands with. Even it's a dead fish handshake. HR should be knowing that. Some people give handshake like this. They should give or not give. If they give, something might go. They're too delicate. People give proper handshake. It should be perpendicular. Give it properly. It should be, it should lock your hands, 2 shakes, and then let go. Finish. It's communicating so much about your confidence. You making eye contact communicates confidence. It communicates, your handshake communicates confidence. Your eye contact communicates trustworthiness. If these two are not going in line with your body language, you're gone. First thing that the interviewer notices, and even without their knowledge, they're noticing all this. Be prepared for this. Grooming. What is grooming? Grooming could be as simple as having a clean shave, having good hairstyles, properly kept hair. I've seen during my work days, people with really long hair. I have a long hair and they come leaving it all open. And you should see them when they're having their lunch or dinner. All hair will be in the food. It looks so annoying to even look at them, right? This is simple grooming. It's etiquette. You cannot look wrong. Some people would wear those crushed tops, shirts. It's communicating a wrong message. You're giving out and saying that you are lazy to keep yourself well. And some people, I'm sorry to say this, but this is something which we all should be aware, and there is nothing wrong with it. Body odor and sometimes even our mouth smell, because we are talking to clients for a long time. Be aware of this and know what should be done. Keep yourself clean. There are men who wore perfumes like bottles. I'm not sure if they showered with bottles of perfumes. They'd come to the work floor smelling like, oh my God, none of the women would faint. They would faint probably because they couldn't stand the smell of a perfume. Be aware of what to wear, what not to wear. And have seen women coming to work like they are models going on a ramp walk, full sajdajke, such huge earrings. Who will wear for work? Every time they turn, there are jiggling sounds, on the floor. And it is so much distraction to everybody on the floor. We are trying to come there and work. There are some important clients with whom we should deal. You cannot come groomed like this. Simple grooming etiquette says that your hair should be tied if it is even longer than your shoulders. Varsha says perfect. That is a hair which can be left untied. Anything below the shoulder level has to go up. There should be a knot. You should wear very light makeup for daytime work. For nighttime, the makeup is different. This is for ladies. You cannot wear something jiggling. You cannot wear long earrings. Studs should be worn. This is all about grooming. Please keep your nails, ladies. You all wear that chipped nail polish. Not done. If you're going for a client meeting, please don't show those half painted nails. It is said that most of the people decide if you are well groomed or not looking at your feet, the shoes that you wear, whether they're polished or not. You go to interview looking prim and proper from top to bottom, except for your shoes, which are not kept well. Even before you reach your venue, probably it is a rainy day. When you reach there, you notice that your shoes is all dirty. Please make note that you have to clean them up. Even on daily basis, keep your shoes clean. Your people will know if you're good, groomed, hygienic or not based on the toenails. Your toenails should be nailed. Just cut them. Don't leave them like that. I had a person whom I would work with, only this nail would be this long. It's a fashion, it's a trend. And it scratches head from that. It looks so annoying and so irritating. Don't do that. Get rid of such things. Next, we will talk about clothing. Clothing is one thing that I would want to emphasize more on, because the rest you will learn. Clothing, okay, let me take you to that slide. Okay, we have spoken about all of these. All right, clothing. When I talk about clothing, there are different levels of clothing that you should wear based on the different occasions. Here it is generally, I have mentioned trousers or kurtas, dark pants and dark colors, so that darker colors, make note of this, darker colors shows authority than lighter colors. If I would have worn a pink color blazer today, it would still communicate that I'm authoritative, because it is a suit. I'm wearing blazer, I'm wearing a layer on top of the shirt within. It is still showing that I'm authoritative, but make sure that it is dark. If it is dark, you come across as authoritative. And sometimes it might also give out a message that you are not approachable. So if I wear a pink one, black is avoided for this reason and blue is worn for this reason again, because people, when they wear black matched suit, they come across as not approachable. They come across as very strict. That is the reason black suits are avoided. Instead, navy blue or blue suits are more worn. And women can try pink, because you will come across as authoritative and still approachable, because it is a lighter color tone. We'll speak more about this. So we have done with 2 points from our discussions from our today's session, what we'll be taking away. We have come to something called a style scale. This will not be taught anywhere else. This is completely from the course which I had done from US. They speak about 4 levels of style scale. Level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. Even when you look at it, you can see the differences. Level 1 is something which you go to market, pick up and wear, just like that. Your jeans, your shirts, your tops that you go out shopping and wear them come under this level 1. Now, one thing that you should level, or the cue for level 1 clothing, is these do not have any type of collar. Collar represents authority. Therefore, level 1 clothing do not have any type of collar. They are more rounded in shapes. They look easy flowing. They're not, thick or stiffly sticking to your body. They're very light material, pliable. Probably like that chiffon saree or chiffon material, very light. These are clothes like that. That is level 1 clothing. Level 2 clothing is still informal, but these are better than level 1. Only cue here is these clothes will have a collar. These can still be the clothes that you have gone out shopping and bought, but they have collar. This portrays that you are somewhere little authoritative, you are somewhere little responsible for the job that you're doing. You can come with dark trousers as well. Level 3 clothing is when you have a third layer added to level 2. Third layer is nothing but any type of blazer. Any type of blazer that you're adding to level 2 clothing. The shirt, the bottom, the trousers, along with a jacket is level 3 clothing. So what is level 4? When your jacket and your trousers match in color. It is a matched suit. When they match in color, then it is level 4. It is a matched suit. I'll explain more about this through this slide. So here you see that level 1 is untailored. Level 2 is called casual tailored. And level 3 is called softly tailored, because it is just adding one more layer to level 2. Level 4 is tailored. You see it is a matched suit. The jacket and the trousers are of same color. In softly tailored, the jacket and trousers are of different color, which is okay. You see the different messages that each of these levels are sending out. If you're in level 1, what is the message that you're trying to send out? You go on a Friday evening to your Friday morning to your office and you're wearing something, clothes like this. What is the message that you're saying? You're available. You're completely unofficial. You're casual, easygoing. This is the message that we give out on every Friday, right? Work is done. Thursday, when it is Friday, people will say, oh my God, it's Friday. Why? Because the clothing does the magic. They're already out of that professional zone, though there is so much of work still to be done. But because of the clothes that they wear, they think it is very unofficial, very casual and easygoing. That is untailored clothes message. Whenever you're wearing such clothes, be very careful. In fact, you might have asked me this question. See, you're talking so much about first impressions and all, but Google as a company do not have any dress code. They allow their employees to wear anything as long as they wear something to work. Google is having another policy. If you're an engineer who is working anywhere between 9 to 12 hours, you can wear even level 1 untailored clothes, which you're comfortable in. You're comfortable is the major priority. But if you are a person who is in a marketing team, who has a lot of client meetings every day, you cannot come in those clothes. This is the point which not many people will emphasize on. Google has these standards. If you are a person who is meeting clients every day, you should wear a buttoned shirt and chinos, trousers, must. It is a compulsory dress code for them also. Therefore, depending on the occasion, if you're having a client meeting, you cannot go dressed in level 1 clothing because you're sending out the wrong message. You're saying that you are very casual. The clothes that you wear reflects on your company as well. Okay, I will give you this offer. I'll give you this business. But how will I be sure as a client that you will deliver what you have promised? Because your clothing, you do not show the same message that is on papers. You look very untrustful for me. That is what client will come back and say. That instead, if you wear softly tailored clothes, okay, what is the message that you're sending across? You're influential, you're capable to deliver what you have promised. Though it is less formal in approach, which means you're still approachable, you're accessible, you're coming across as someone capable. The level 3 is the clothing that I have worn today. I've just added a blazer. The bottom is different in color, it's black. And here I've worn blue, along with white. The message that I wanted to convey was, I'm accessible, I'm influential, I'm capable, I'm receptive, I'm less formal. That is the reason I say accessible. And I'm dependable with whatever I'll be sharing today. If you want to send across, if for interviews, casual tailored is what you should go for interviews. But make sure that you're not wearing heels for your interviews or even for your work space, because heels will make most of us uncomfortable. It will give a pain if you're having a lot of walking around to do. Last, level 4 tailored clothes you should wear when you're having to represent your organization before any press meet or you have a conference or you're meeting very, very extremely important client. That is when you should go dressed in level 4. And the message that you'll be sending across is you're authoritative, official, credible, stable, more formal, and precise. So depending on what messages you want to send across to your client or the person that you will be meeting, choose from these 4 levels. After this, okay, I'll give you just some examples. Tell me what is the message that you would want to send based on those examples. You're at work, it's just a normal day at work. What is the message that you would want to send? Normal day at work.
Formal.
You want to look formal. Okay. So if you want to look formal, what is the dress? What is the level of clothes that you'd be selecting? If you want to look formal. Somewhere between level 2 and level 3, can I say?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'll give this example. You might not be married, but you're taking your wife or your husband out for dinner. That time also you would want to send across a message that you are very formal?
No, we
What is
would
the
go to
message that
level
you want
1.
to send? Level 1. So you mean to say something very casual, something that says that you are available, something that is easygoing and relaxed, that is the message you want to send across. Depending on that, you're choosing level 1. You're right. As a parent going to visit your child's school, what is the message that you'd want to convey?
Authoritative.
Authoritative. Okay. I heard some other answer as well.
As a parent, we would go by level 1 as well.
Okay, level 1. You mean you will wear something just
Untailored.
jeans and top?
Yes.
Untailored. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that shows that you are unofficial, you are available, casual, easygoing. Fine, depending on the message that you want to convey, but be very careful. If it is a parent-teacher meeting and if you're wearing just casuals, I don't think it would be right. You can wear a kurta, you can wear a sari, or you can wear something a little casual tailored, because that will give an impression that, oh my God, these parents are serious about their kids. That is the impression you want to give to the teachers or the faculty there. So depending on that, choose wisely. As an entertainment, you're just going out for a movie with friends.
Level 1.
Perfect. For travel, level 1 again, because you want to be very casual. You want to be relaxed. Now, think of this. You're traveling with clients. Then also you want to look very relaxed. You're
We
traveling
would go
with
by
your
level
business
4.
clients.
Level 4.
We will go
Even
level
if
4.
not level 4, think of level 3 also. You might not be very comfortable wearing a matched suit completely tucked in. If that is not comfortable, still think of level 3. Level 4 is the right answer, by the way. If you're not comfortable, then go with level 4. There's something which is still casual. So depending on the occasion, whom you're traveling with, if they're clients on before whom you should build an impression, be very mindful. Go anywhere between level 4 or level 3. We have come almost to the end. Now, I've told so much about clothes. There are many times where we let go of so many occasions. See, I spoke about parent-teacher meeting. Just because you're wearing a sari doesn't mean that you wear every other jewelry that is there in home. No. Looking appropriate. If you're at work, you're wearing clothes, right? But it should be appropriate to the work environment. It should be appropriate that matches you and matches you with the team members that you have at that work. Look appropriate based on the occasion, based on the time, based on the culture where you are. So being appropriate is what that matters the most. We are talking about 4 A's of dress standards here. After looking appropriate, you need to look authentic, which means I like Aishwarya Rai. Doesn't mean that I'll have to dress like Aishwarya Rai. Then I'll be just a duplicate Aishwarya Rai or a photocopy of Aishwarya Rai, which is not Leena. I might take her as an inspiration, take her clothes as an inspiration, but still wear something that fits me, that brings out my own personality out, that does not stop Leena from looking like Leena. What I mean to say is, look authentic, be yourself, look yourself. You don't have to look like somebody else. No. Apart from this, look attractive. The clothes that you wear should be attractive. Doesn't mean that it should be costly. That is the last point. It should be affordable and it should look attractive also. When I say attractive, try to, especially for Zoom calls like this, try to bring the focal point towards your face. Even in on-person meetings, the attention of the client should be here, not anywhere down. Therefore, wear some accessories, a necklace, or men wear a tie or a bow or anything that will bring attention to the face, bring up the attention, look attractive, be presentable. Next, affordable. See that any of this does not go heavy on your bank pockets. Anything that is heavy on your budget, please don't buy it. Stay within the limits. See how much you can spend. Likewise, buy the stuff also. So what are the keys? Look appropriate, authentic, attractive, and affordable. What do you think here? What is going on? You know these two personalities here? Do you all know these two personalities? You all know. One on my right, that is Priyanka Chopra. There was a huge scene on Twitter, if you all remember the occasion. People were like, how can you wear such clothes before our prime minister? How can you show your legs before the prime minister? This was the first impression of many people because it gave out. There was no front and back of the picture when it was taken. Later, Priyanka Chopra came out and said that she gave a personal message saying, we were at Berlin and PM happened to be the same place where I was. And when called for meeting, instead of going back and changing into something which is appropriate to meet the prime minister, I thought it is more important to meet him at the right time given to me. That is the reason, whatever I was wearing, I just went and I met him. They were in Berlin that time. Was she appropriately dressed? No. Because as a prime minister, you have to be wearing something that covers your legs, at least based on our Indian cultures. It's okay when you get to know the story that she told. It is absolutely okay. That is what my take is. But we as people, we do not judge based on facts. We just decide based on the first impressions. On the left hand of my screen is Kate Middleton. She is the one you all must be knowing. She's the princess. She's not called the princess. She's the duchess. That is what they title her. Here she was at Mumbai visiting a local orphanage. If you all have seen her portraits, she is not the one usually dressing from top to bottom. She is not covered. Their culture is like that. She is the one who wears a bodycon dress or a sheath dress, usually dress until her knees. That is what she wears. But here she is appropriately dressed because think of where she is. She is in an orphanage. She cannot come dressed like a duchess to see the kids there. She's trying to be herself, though she's not wearing a sari here. She's still trying to be herself. She's comfortable in whatever she's wearing. That is the reason I said you have to be appropriate. She is appropriate. She's authentic. She is being herself. She's attractive. Yes, she is looking great. She is attractive. Is it affordable? Obviously, for her, it is affordable. You see, that is the reason you have to look at all the situations and then decide what you should be wearing, when you should be wearing, what you should not be wearing, and why you should not be wearing. Apart from all this, remember three things. One is the body language, one is the clothes, one is the smile. Just because you're wearing confident clothes and your body language is like this, there is no reinforcement happening. Your body, your clothes, no matter how confident they are, it should also be seen in the body language. Some clients might think that you're coming across as too overconfident, then smile. That smiling will do all the magic and it will mellow down that overconfidence look that you're portraying, and you will normally come across as a normal confident person. Remember, clothing should be worn to send the message you want. Wear clothes in such a way that you send out the message that you want. If you want to look confident, wear a jacket. If you want to look approachable, wear light colors. If you want to look authoritative, wear dark colors, level 3 or level 4. If you want, along with this, along with clothing, let them be emphasizing, you have to emphasize them through your body language. Use gestures, postures, smile, body language, hand movement, body movement, emphasize it. Then finally, smile. Smile will do all the magic. Even if you've done anything wrong, just smile, apologize, and go ahead. This is it from me. And apart from all this, never forget first impressions. Never get a second chance. All right. That's it from me. Anything else? Anybody has anything else to say?
Aren't we too judgmental?
Yes, we are being judgmental. That is what I said in the beginning, right? First impressions are judgmental. You're judging just because of the looks of a person. You think whether they're capable or not, trustworthy or not, intelligent or not, financially stable or not. You know, there is another study which is conducted, which said people should not go by first impressions. But unfortunately, scientists say that it is so much not in your control that even just by glancing at a person, you have already formed first impression. That is what people say. And there was another study, Vivek, which was very interesting because I'm the person who is trying not to be a victim of first impressions. I'm trying to learn how to not go by first impressions, especially it is important for HRs in your field. I read an article which said that if you see one person coming late, as a HR, that is the reason you're giving them a chance for 3 interviews. You see them thrice, not just once. So by the time the 3rd interview is gone, you probably might change your impression about them. And you must be very cautious. You have to take a very cautious decision of changing that impression. Because these impressions are so much acting on your brain. No, you yourself are not in control. It is very subconscious.
Right. We actually rush to make an impression.
Yeah, and that too without our knowledge. There was a study, especially because of this lockdown. No, I spoke so much about clothes, gave importance to so much about clothing. People started asking, we are at home, we are not wearing formals, we are not level 3, level 4, level 2, nothing. We are just in a casual wear at home, probably even in a night dress. There are so many people who come dressed only the upper half and the lower half, they are in their shorts. There are so many videos which have gone viral like this. But the study also concluded saying that such people will have half mind in working. They're not completely present to work. They're sometimes running towards the children, running towards the kitchen. Whatever you wear, it is also portrayed in your work. That was the conclusion made. And some studies said that there should not be any professional dress at all. In the sense, they should not be enforced on people saying you have to wear formals, you have to be dressed like this for work. Because it seems that it decreased their work by 80%. But the same study of 1,000 HR managers said that when we gave them casual work attire, their work ethics also became drastically low. They did not stick to their work. They became very casual, very lethargic, and they built a nature of being very flirtatious at work. That is the reason they brought back formal wear for work. There's so many studies that support first impressions, in fact. All right, Vivek, that was from my end.
Wonderful. Anyways, that is why I don't like ethnic wear at office. There is no mood to work. So, how is everyone? Any questions?
Any questions? I think I have covered most of the questions until now, all giving answers by myself.
Right. Yes, Jyoti.
Ma'am, what was your first impression about us?
I shouldn't be asking you all, what was your first impression about me? I was the only one all jacked up today. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be, okay, this was my actual first impression. The moment I looked at you, I was like, okay, this is very friendly audience. Very friendly audience. And it relaxed me. Otherwise, I was like, oh my God, there'll be people, they might pose so and so questions. I came prepared for every question. That is the reason I just gave out answers to you all, even though you all did not ask. Jyoti came across very studious to me, very studious person, making note of every point, raising hands, still in that student mode. Vivek, I had it, this was my take on Vivek, okay, because I just checked his LinkedIn profile even before talking to him in person. His LinkedIn profile looked like, oh my God, I'll be working with Vivek. He looks so serious because his LinkedIn profile is like that, like this, And then after talking to him, I was like, I changed my impression. He is a very casual person. He's quite easygoing, should not be a problem. First impressions online are actually negative. This is another study which confirmed. If you look at a profile picture at somebody and decide, you usually tend to decide something negative about them and not positive. And it worked.
Should I change the pic?
Try, but anyways, you'll get another negative impression only. It's like that. Try smiling,
That is what I have learned in last 5 years. Don't care about impressions.
True.
Anyone and everyone will anyways make an impression.
Make impression, exactly.
Allow them to live with their impression and you focus on what you are doing.
Absolutely right.
And they change, as you said, 8 times.
But Vivek, you have already reached that level where you don't give a damn to anybody else. We are still struggling. We have to care, no? if you talk about Prime Minister, he don't have to care about his looks and all. He has already reached his level. We are still struggling to get our.
But tell him
Huh?
not to spend so much of money, no, on the suits and all. But
if I
yes,
get
it
the.
was.
Mhm.
But
Get the
yes,
chance
it
and
was a
ride
great
on.
session. I noticed two things.
Hmm.
Though I was on mute and camera was off, Chaitanya's connection was also not very stable.
Mhm.
And probably that was the reason all the examples were female oriented dressing and makeup. That was the
Yeah,
impression I was
because I could see only female faces. And
I was
actually, there are only
noticing that.
females.
I was noticing that. I think Chaitanya has lost the connection.
Hmm.
But yes, it was a great session.
Hmm.
Shraddha, anything to ask?
No, sir.
I came to know that you are currently traveling, so or
Yes,
busy
sir.
in something. But yes,
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I'm sure, Leena, I mean, your inputs would certainly help each one of us, especially the girls who are preparing for interviews.
Yeah.
So that is, I hope you girls have got the answers. Because a lot of
Yes,
interviews
sir.
are coming up for you.
Yes, sir.
So
If you
though
have
Leena
anything.
is close to us, we can again disturb her whenever we want. But
Sure.
still, this is one opportunity you can make full advantage of it.
If you have any other questions which you all want to ask, you can always write to my personal email ID, which is leenaini@gmail.com. I'll share that in the chat.
You WhatsApp it to me, I'll share it with everyone.
All right, perfect, Vivek. I'll do that. Or even
Also,
on
being a
LinkedIn.
graduate student, we were given about all the industry insights, how to prepare resume, how to prepare, tell me about yourself, create the abstract, create those action verbs in your resume and anything. But this was the which was not being addressed at all. So, like, you addressed in a very, like, you can say, in a very good time, so that we are prepared by ourselves by our clothing as well and the way we talk. So that's another brownie point that you added in all the slides what you have taken
Oh,
across.
great. Glad that I did that. Thank you, Sushmita. Thank you.
Chalo, so I think
All
thank
right,
you, Leena,
Vivek.
for all your time.
Thank
We'll
you for
again
giving
get
me
in
this
touch. We'll
opportunity.
discuss this.
Sure.
Chalo, then we'll disconnect.
All right. See you
Thank
all.
you,
Thank you for
everyone.
the opportunity.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
It was a
Thank
wonderful
you.
session.
Thank you, Varsha. Thank you,
Thank you.
Sushmita. Thank you, Shraddha. Thank you, Nivitri.